it is m1 l minus 1 t minus 2. Second question is SI unit of stress, so it is Newton per meter square. Third is CGS unit of stress, it is Dian per centimeter square. Fourth is stress is equal to, it is equal to the magnitude of force per unit area. Next is types of stress 3. Then longitudinal stress is magnitude of perpendicular force by area. Let me to elaborate it. Suppose this is a cylindrical rod and here is the area of cross section. If you apply a force in such a way that force is perpendicular to the plane of the area, then that component gives us longitudinal stress. Whereas if you apply force in a way that it is in the plane of the area, then we call as that as parallel force. And tangential stress is magnitude of parallel force divided by area. Then we have shear stress, it is also parallel force by area. So tangential and shear are the same thing. Now is volumetric stress. So volumetric stress is equal to the pressure. So see, when you put a solid inside a liquid, then there is a force exerted perpendicular to the area vector, and this perpendicular force per unit area is called the pressure. Then is the hydraulic stress, it is same as that of pressure. So next question is pressure upon hydraulic stress ratio is 1. Now there is a question, algebraic question based on stress and strain. There is a rectangle ABCD and there is a force at an angle of theta making with the plane. So what we do is we take the components of forces along the plane, तो ये f cos theta हो जाएगा, perpendicular to the plane ये आपका f sin theta हो जाएगा. एरिया ऑफ दिस ट्राइंगल इज, सो ऑब्वियसली ट्राइंगल का एरिया होता है लेंथ इंटू ब्रेड्थ, तो एल इंटू बी आ जाएगा. इसके बाद नेक्स्ट है नॉर्मल कंपोनेंट ऑफ फोर्स ऑन फेस ए बी सी डी. तो ए बी सी डी के परपेंडिकुलर जो फोर्स का कंपोनेंट है वो एफ साइन थीटा है यहाँ से, तो एफ साइन थीटा आ जाएगा. इसको यूज़ करके अगर आपसे पूछे लॉन्गिट्यूडनल स्ट्रेस ऑन फेस ए बी सी डी, तो ये एफ साइन थीटा अपॉन एल बी आ जाएगा. टेंजेंशियल कंपोनेंट ऑफ फोर्स एफ कोस थीटा. इसी वजह से शेयर स्ट्रेस होता है टेंजेंशियल फोर्स बाय एरिया, तो ये हो जाएगा एफ कोस थीटा बाई एल बी. नेक्स्ट यहाँ पे एक आपको प्लेन दिया है, ये क्वेश्चन आ गया. 37 डिग्री पर ये इंक्लाइंड है और एरिया ऑफ ए बी सी डी आपसे पूछा है. सो एरिया ऑफ ए बी सी डी, ये जो रेक्टेंगल है इसका एरिया होता है लेंथ इंटू ब्रेड्थ. सॉल्व करने के बाद आ जाएगा 24 मीटर स्क्वायर. देन यहाँ पे है नॉर्मल कंपोनेंट ऑफ फोर्स ऑन ए बी सी डी. तो जो फोर्स का नॉर्मल कंपोनेंट या परपेंडिकुलर कंपोनेंट आएगा वो आपका 200 साइन 37 आ जाएगा. साइन 37 इज 3/5. आफ्टर सॉल्विंग वी गेट 120 न्यूटन. उसके बाद है लॉन्गिट्यूडिनल स्ट्रेस ऑन फेस ए बी सी डी. सो दिस इज परपेंडिकुलर फोर्स बाय एरिया. फोर्स हियर इज 120, एरिया इज 24. ऑन सॉल्विंग वी गेट 5 न्यूटन पर मीटर स्क्वायर. नेक्स्ट इज टेंजेंशियल component of force, so that will be 200 cos 37. So 200 into 4/5. After solving we get 160. Next is tangential or shear stress on face is parallel force by area, so that will be 160 by 24, which will be simplified to 20/3 Newton per meter square. So let's move to the next worksheet. So here is a worksheet on the coefficient of elasticity. So let's begin with the simple questions. ये कौन है भाई? जो भी है अमर विसारी, क्या है ये बेटा? एआई नहीं है ये, इट्स ह्यूमन इटसेल्फ. हालांकि आजकल पता नहीं लगता कि कौन एआई है और कौन ह्यूमन है, बट मैं इतना कह सकता हूँ कि मैं ह्यूमन ही हूँ बेटा. और यहाँ से पहला क्वेश्चन है कोफिशिएंट ऑफ इलास्टिसिटी. सो दिस इज m1 l-1 t-2. सेकेंड क्वेश्चन इज एसआई यूनिट ऑफ कोफिशिएंट ऑफ इलास्टिसिटी. तो एसआई यूनिट यहाँ से हो जाएगा न्यूटन बाई मीटर स्क्वायर. नेक्स्ट इज सीजीएस यूनिट ऑफ कोफिशिएंट ऑफ इलास्टिसिटी, ये हो जाएगा डायन पर सेंटीमीटर स्क्वायर. देन टाइप ऑफ कोफिशिएंट ऑफ इलास्टिसिटी, सो देर आर 3 टाइप्स. नेक्स्ट इज यंग्स मॉडुलस. तो यंग्स मॉडुलस होता है लॉन्गिट्यूडिनल स्ट्रेस डिवाइडेड बाय लॉन्गिट्यूडिनल स्ट्रेन. देन इज मॉडुलस ऑफ रिजिडिटी, ये होता है शेयर स्ट्रेस बाय शेयर स्ट्रेन. देन इज बल्क मॉडुलस, ये होता है वॉल्यूमेट्रिक स्ट्रेस बाय वॉल्यूमेट्रिक स्ट्रेन. देन नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज यंग्स मॉडुलस. तो इसका डायमेंशन होता है m1 l-1 t-2. देन डायमेंशन ऑफ मॉडुलस ऑफ रिजिडिटी सेम m1 l-1 t-2. नेक्स्ट है जी अकॉर्डिंग टू हुक्स लॉ. तो हुक्स लॉ के अकॉर्डिंग स्ट्रेस इज प्रोपोर्शनल टू स्ट्रेन, और उसी के अकॉर्डिंग जो ग्राफ आएगा वो स्ट्रेट लाइन आएगा, और इसका जो स्लोप है वो आपका कोफिशिएंट ऑफ इलास्टिसिटी के इक्वल होगा. इसी पे बेस्ड अगला क्वेश्चन है कि 3 ग्राफ्स आपको दिए गए हैं ए बी और सी. तो इसमें ई ए पूछा है आपसे, तो ई टेन थीटा होता है, तो ए है तो टेन थीटा ए हो जाएगा, बी है टेन थीटा बी, सी है तो टेन थीटा सी. अब नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है मोस्ट इलास्टिक मटेरियल. तो जिसका थीटा सबसे बड़ा है उसका टेन थीटा सबसे बड़ा होगा. और जिसका टेन थीटा सबसे बड़ा है उसका इलास्टिसिटी सबसे ज़्यादा होगा, तो वही मोस्ट इलास्टिक मटेरियल होगा। तो मोस्ट इलास्टिक यहाँ पे सी आ जाएगा। मोस्ट प्लास्टिक माने लीस्ट इलास्टिक, वो आपका ए हो जाएगा। नेक्स्ट इज सॉरी लीस्ट इलास्टिक, ये भी ये है। मोस्ट प्लास्टिक हो या लीस्ट इलास्टिक एक ही बात है, ए आ जाएगा। देन इज लीस्ट प्लास्टिक मटेरियल, सो लीस्ट प्लास्टिक मीन्स मोस्ट इलास्टिक बिकॉज दे आर अपोजिट, तो सी आ जाएगा। देन असेंडिंग ऑर्डर ऑफ इलास्टिसिटी, तो हमें कह सकते हैं कि ई ए इज लेस देन ई बी लेस देन ई सी। डिसेंडिंग ऑर्डर, तो इसका उल्टा कर दीजिए, ई सी ग्रेटर देन ई बी, सॉरी ग्रेटर ये। नेक्स्ट इज डिसेंडिंग ऑर्डर, next is descending order of elasticity, so it will be EC greater than EB greater than EA. Then is dimension of stress, so it is M1 L minus 1 T minus 2. Then dimension of strain, it is dimensionless, M0 L0 T0. Then dimension of stress by strain, it is M1 L minus 1 T minus 2, as strain is dimensionless, so that will be dimension of stress by strain. Then is dimension of stress into strain, so stress will be M1 L minus 1 T minus 2, strain is dimensionless, so its dimension will be M1 L minus 1 T minus 2. Now let's talk about one of the program, my program OST, which is a 21 days mind training program, which is for optimal results. And yes, it is for optimal results in exam. You see, any exam is basically the testing of your mind brain system and testing of three things: information, process, energy, and their interaction to solve question. Now suppose this is a student, so if we analyze the student, he is composed of brain and the mind. Brain has roughly structure like this, it's the spinal cord and is the frontal part of the brain. And brain and mind coordinates via something which we call as the brain waves. These brain waves, as per neuroscience is concerned, they are categorized into a spectrum of 5 distinct divisions, which are called alpha, beta, gamma, delta and theta waves. Now the delta waves corresponds to the lowest frequency and gamma corresponds to the highest frequency. So normally what happens is brain is interacting with the conscious mind. So as you might be knowing that the reptilian brain inside us, whose task is to make you survive. So it will just interact with the consciousness, with the conscious mind, and it will look for any threats to the life and whether life is going on peacefully or not. So it will just interact with that much thing which is necessary to make you survive. But if you dare to think beyond survival, then you have to fight with your own brain yourself, fight with your conscious mind yourself, and have to access information from the depth. And that accessing information from the depth requires a lot of energy, which explains why most of the students, they are afraid of studying, they don't like studying, because there is a mental pressure on them, there is an additional pressure on them. And if you are not adaptive to the changes in frequencies, or you are not able adaptive to the pressure, you won't be able to learn new things. So this explains why we don't like to study, because there is a pressure, mental pressure build up. Because now studying means interacting with deeper level of the mind, and it gives you an uncomfortable feeling. You feel like you are expanding into unknown domains. So that's why most of the students are unable to study, and they just find a method to run away from the studies. But if you want to study properly, if you want to learn new things, you have to dominate the flight mode of the mind. Now here comes for optimal result. Now if we analyze what happens to you when you really work on that and as per performance is concerned. So this is from the Yerkes and Rudson law. They were a team of psychologists and who performed experiments on performance versus stress graph. So initially you see, you don't want to take stress, so performance is low. But gradually you increases the stress and performance increases up to a certain level, which is known as the optimal stress. But here is the point: after optimal stress, performance decreases instead of increasing. You must have seen many performers, many students, many musicians, many cricket players, many other players when the stress inside them increases beyond the optimal level, then because of that pressure they're not able to perform that good. So for optimal success, we must be knowing our optimal stress, and we must work within 5% error of that optimal stress. That is secret to have optimal performance, because optimal stress is dependent on your DNA. Nobody and DNA is different for everybody, and your optimal stress level depends on a number of factors, out of which one is your DNA. Everybody can't be Albert Einstein, everybody can't be Nikola Tesla, everybody can't be Sachin Tendulkar. So it's whatever you achieve in life, whatever you perform, has something to do with your own optimal stress and ultimately your DNA. So you should work within those limitations. And this concept is reminiscent of resonant frequency in any circuit. Any device which is based on coding and decoding mechanism make use of resonance in AC circuits. The common example is, suppose you are listening to a particular station, you are listening to certain frequency like 96 megahertz. So your radio must be tuned at that frequency, or its frequency should be equal to the frequency of the receiver, the transmitter. So that's how encoding and decoding mechanism works. And this orientation is given by 1 by 2 pi root LC, where L is the inductance of the circuit and C is the capacitance, which again shows that the optimal frequency depends on the nature of the circuit. Now thing is, if you analyze human brain itself, so human brain itself is reminiscent of electronic circuit. Just like electrons flow in a wire in a current carrying circuit, in the very same way neurons flows in the brain. There is a neural activity involved, and that neural activity forms a certain pattern, and that pattern is important. So resonance in AC circuit or resonance within yourself are very related to each other. So this is how we can explain the orientations involved.